Welcome to episode 8 of the Hightide. Today I had my guests on DJ, my current roommate, and Josh Lamoureux, a gentleman I went to high school with back in the day. And yeah, this episode we talked about work, we talked about COVID. Josh gave some excellent insight on the military and talked about some of his experiences of people he knows. And we also talked a little bit about politics. This was a bit of a shorter episode. We were running a little late on time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, here's the episode. Hey guys, welcome to episode 8 of the Hightide. It's your host Ed here today. And with me, I've got my current roommate DJ and a new guest, Josh. DJ, how are you doing?
Yo, yiggity, yo. I am doing just fine. I just started a new job, and I'm now about 4.5 months into the podcast game myself. So It's going pretty well. And surprisingly, winter hasn't been that bad.
Thus far. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I just started a new job relatively recently, like the beginning of December. Started a new job, stocking shelves early in the morning at Michael's. I'm doing pretty good, man. Making my way through this world slowly but surely. Getting there, man. You gotta save, keep that grind up going.
Hell yeah, man. So we tried to record a podcast a couple weeks ago, and for some reason this one didn't save.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that sucks, man. But, that was some good content too.
Yeah, it was not bad. I fucked with it for sure. One of the things we talked about on that was the military, man. You want to get into that a little bit?
Yeah. So I had enlisted last summer I went to boot camp, and I was all about it. I've always been about the Marine Corps, and I went down there and I was doing really well and kicking ass. Honestly, I was above average, but it was fun. Honestly, it was fun, but it sucked. But towards the end, I got fucking injured. I got a micro tear and a ligament in the back of my knee, and that kind of put me out of the game. And I was faced with a couple options. It was pretty tough, but at the end of the day, they were yeah, you're either stuck here away from everybody for a year, or you can go home and come back in 6 months. And I was all right, tight. I want to just go home, spend that time at home with my family, do what I got to do during that 6 months, and then I'll just get the paperwork to go through and then re-enlist, right?
And you went to the Marines?
Yeah, man. And then fucking Corona happened, so that fucking blew out the window. And I've kind of just been laying low, trying to wait it out.
That sucks.
Yeah, I've kind of been trying to wait it out, and after getting into that work stride and experiencing life here, I'm now at the point where I'm kind of torn between I do want to go back. It was a great experience. Boot camp was fun, but it sucked. It's an experience that I'll always remember for the rest of my life. But at the same time, is that an experience I really want to go through again?
Would you have to start boot camp all the way from the beginning?
From the beginning, yeah. Which, honestly, it wouldn't be a bad thing because, I know all the shit that already happens. And I still remember, 90% of the shit that I learned down there. But at the same, it sucks. It fucking sucks. Yeah, it's fun and it's a great experience. But it's something that you never want to do. It's the most fun you'll ever have in your life that you never want to do again.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It's something that's memorable, but it's something that if faced with the option, you would probably never want to do again.
Yeah, what was it? Back towards the latter days of high school, I absolutely thought about enlisting in the military. And
it's a great option, man. You get a lot of benefits and all this shit, but at the end of the day, there's a lot you're sacrificing.
I injured my knee during senior year during wrestling, and when that happened, I fell more into the arts after that. But military life was always something that I actually regret, not seeing what it's all about.
Yeah. The few months that I actually experienced, it wasn't the full military life, but it's not a bad life. It's really not. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. Yeah, it sucks. You're away from family. You're away from friends. But at the same time, you're doing something meaningful. You're getting paid to do shit. You have all these benefits. You have TRICARE, free TRICARE, and it's not when
what
you're
is
in.
TRICARE?
So it's health insurance, which is like dental, dental, optical, your eyes, and like full coverage health insurance. So like any operation or procedure you have to have, or anything medically that you have to have done, like say you fucking like break your toe, out like if Ed was to take and break his toe, he'd be whatever. If your insurance doesn't cover it all, like you have to pay out of pocket. With like the TRICARE in the military, you don't pay for shit. It's all taken care of, and it's like you don't pay anything for it.
And
like,
you can make the arguable statement that it's the the most difficult human service you can really do for the world.
Yeah, like it really is. Like, yeah, it sucks, and I think like the military is very underrated by people. Like, it's definitely lost that whole like respectful feel to it. Like back in the day, like that was a big thing. Like, oh, you joined the military, all right, much respect to you. Like I would never do that, but I respect you for doing that. Nowadays, it's just like, oh, you joined the military, all right, cool. Tight. Like you didn't have any other options. Like back in the day, the military used to be something that was honorable to do. Like you wanted to serve your country, you wanted to do something meaningful and learn something meaningful. And nowadays, it's just like a big majority of people that join the military, it's more of like, wow, I really didn't have anything else to do with my life, so I just said fuck it, which like really lost.
But even still, like that's not even saying fuck it. It's saying like right now I'm at this point. Like, what do I got to lose? Like, if anything, like I
like that's what I'm saying.
Myself,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of that whole honorable part of it has kind of been like taken away. Like it's not as honorable to join the military and serve your country and protect the innocent and stand up for the weak. It's more of like I didn't really know what I was gonna do with my life, and I wasn't sure if I ever would. So I joined the military.
Do you think that has to do with the type of wars that we're fighting now, as opposed to like the types of wars we used to fight?
I mean, yeah, I sort of but at the same time, no. Like, yeah, the war we've been fighting in the past 20 years, like it's a very unconventional war, but that's not something that we chose. We didn't choose to fight that way. That was just the way that our enemy decided to fight. Like, it just sucks. Like, it's shitty. We're fighting terrorism, which is not a conventional war. Like, you're not just like they'll fucking throw a kid in front of them just so you won't shoot them. Like they'll put a fucking grenade in a kid's hand, tell him to pull the pin and run up to you. Like, their tactics are fucking crazy. Like,
now that shit's heavy.
Yeah, man, dude. When I was down there, like when you're down in boot camp, your senior drill instructor sits you down and like has talks with you and shit. And he'd tell us like towards the end, once we started earning his respect and shit more, he would open up to us about like his experiences at war. And he was telling us this one story about how like you don't because he went to Afghanistan. Like, you don't understand like how traumatizing it can be to have to shoot a fucking kid because your enemy tells this fucking 5-year-old kid who doesn't know any better, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, to, hey, take this fucking thing, pull this on it, and then run up to those guys and just drop it.
Damn.
Or like, they go up to these fucking women and these people who are like, yeah, no, I have no interest in fighting for you. Like, I'm not trying to fight. No. They literally will hold the fucking gun to them while they strap on a fucking suicide vest.
Yeah, and like the old saying rings true, like war is hell.
War is hell, yeah.
That sounds like the most psychological example of hell.
Oh yeah, there. Like it's fucking insane. Like the emotional trauma people go through when you have to shoot a woman or a child who doesn't know any better. It takes a toll on a person's mind. Like, I had our chief drill instructor down there, Chief Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Gray. He was down there and he did 2 tours in Afghanistan, and he was doing this. He was in infantry, so he's doing the he's going out to relieve his buddy, right? Or no, his buddy was coming out to relieve him in a fucking Humvee, And he's like, oh man, like, it's so good to see you. Like, I can't believe you're my relief. Like, holy shit, you know, you're fucking late. But whatever, like, you're my homie. And they were, like, rejoicing for a second. And then next thing you know, all he hears is fucking crack. And his fucking buddy just drops.
Ooh.
And, like, as a person witnessing somebody that you like, yeah, you may not have known them your whole life, but, like, you've experienced some of the most hellish conditions on the planet with that person. Like, that brings people together, and you just watch them fucking drop, and you're in your fucking mind like, holy shit, he's fucking dead. Like, he was telling us, like, his first reaction was just to pick him up, throw him on the Humvee, and get the fuck out of there. Like, that was his first instinct. Like, that's what his training did. Pick him up, carry him to the Humvee, throw him in that bitch, and get him back to help. I mean, yeah, the story has a nice ending. Like, his buddy wasn't dead. It like, hit his helmet and, like, grazed his helmet or some shit like that and just knocked him out. Like, he had a wicked bruise on he had a wicked black eye, and, like, half of his face was bruised, but, like, he was fine.
Okay.
Like,
Well, that's good.
but, like, having a traumatic experience like that where you think your best friend in the whole fucking world is dead and he died right in front of you and there was not a goddamn thing you could do, that's traumatizing, man. And that's, like, a big thing of why, like...
That's sure enough to put, like, holes in the brain due to stress, at least.
And you gotta think, like, yeah, a lot of soldiers in World War II, like, American soldiers, you know, they would stumble upon fucking concentration camps, and they're like, Jesus Christ, like, these people are fucking skeletons. Like, these aren't people, these are fucking skeletons walking around. Like, yeah, that's traumatizing. But can you imagine having to shoot a fucking kid? Like, I'm not trying to compare the two, but, like... You just can't imagine that type of thing unless you're in the situation.
Now, could you answer me this? So, for the sake of argument, let's say the behavior caused to the mass populace of the world due to the news of coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that is more psychologically traumatizing to the world because it's one of those enemies that cannot be what is the word?
You can't
negotiated with.
Yeah,
America doesn't negotiate with terrorists, though.
No, they
the
don't.
world can't negotiate with something that's the
Like,
equivalent
yeah,
of an alien species.
But at the same time, like, yeah, there are people who are fucking so traumatized by the fact that they don't know if it's gonna get them or when it's gonna get them or all this other shit. But, like, when it really boils down to it, like, even in the United States, like, people are like, oh my god, the United States has it so bad, they have this percentage, or they, not percentage, but they have this many people that has it. Like, you look at the rest of the world, and they're like, oh yeah, we only had this many people. And then you look at, like, the percentages of their country's population versus the United States population, and then you, like, ratio it out. It's the same fucking ratio. The same amount of ratio of people in fucking, I don't know, like, Switzerland or some shit, is the same amount of people that, like, proportionally, is the same amount of people that got sick in the U.S. and died.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Would you compare the fear really to, say, the fear of the dark? When it comes to the fear of the dark, it's never about the dark itself. It's what could possibly be, and applying it to the coronavirus stuff.
Yeah, I definitely get
we're
that.
not afraid that, someone will get it, but, we're afraid, what does that mean?
What happens?
Because nobody can give a straight answer.
It's just, I definitely agree with that. Like, it's a what if thing.
I think, too, going back to talking numbers, I think with the U.S. and, having an exorbitant amount of cases and whatnot, I think that a lot of that's just fucking Florida, man.
Florida? You think it's Florida?
It's not.
Florida.
It's not
is
Florida.
just
You know what it
caked
is?
with fucking COVID, bro.
No. You know what it is? It's the state we fucking live in. New York City. He didn't. Cuomo has.
New York's pretty bad.
Governor
too.
Cuomo and I don't remember who the mayor of New York is right now. They didn't handle it right. You look at the governor of Florida. Florida is completely open again, pretty much, because he handled it right.
It's not even that. I would go ahead and say that it goes as far as media is concerned about what is said and what is not, because you also keep in mind that So I have some family that lives down in Florida. Like I was actually in Daytona when we got the threat about New York was being closed by Cuomo and whatnot. So I hopped back up here, and the thing about it was like I think a lot of shit was more exaggerated than what was
definitely.
You know.
Yeah, I remember seeing you, dude, because I remember you leaving and shit, and then I was just fucking driving on the street one day, and I was like, "Is that fucking DJ?" I was like, "What?"
Yeah, no. Like, I was ultra scared when, like, fucking the governor said that he was going to close down the whole state. And I'm like, yo, can he actually do that? And I was like, okay, so I'm going to make a surprise visit for a while. Like, the big thing was I wanted to make sure my friends and family were okay. And also, like, yeah, Florida was good, don't get me wrong, but, like, yeah, the main reason was personal connections. Like, especially if the world seemed like it was actually going mad, because, like, again, it was the media.
Fear and it's honestly it's an irrational fear. Like, I'm not saying I don't believe it's fake or whatever, but I think there's a lot of creating people like the media and just everybody in general are creating this mass irrational fear where like. You tested positive, but we don't know if it's actually corona. Like, if there have been people who literally will take 2 fucking test kits and they'll fucking stick it up like their fucking cat's ass or some shit like that and send it back, and it's like, oh, corona, you're positive.
Yeah,
but I don't mean that literally, but like people were literally like Elon Musk. He said in 2 tests or 4 was it 4 tests?
4 tests in one day. 2
came back positive and 2 came back negative. And
people beating themselves up over toilet paper.
That dude,
dude, I was working
it's
at Dollar
crazy.
General during this early pandemic, right? And obviously, shit was crazy, dude. Like, we were out of toilet paper nonstop, and we're just like, whatever. So we get truck one day, and I'm unloading truck, and we've got the first hour. Like, we weren't allowed to actually physically enforce it. But we had a sign up that said, the first hour of the day is for, like, elderly people or, like, immunocompromised or whatever. But, like, if some, like, 20-year-old, like, fit guy came in, like, it's not like we could kick him out or anything. But, so we had that going on. So we were unloading the truck, like, before the store opens. And never, ever in my life have I seen a fucking line of people outside Dollar General waiting to come in at the start of, like, the day opening. I'm like, what the fuck? So we just see, like, a huge-ass line of, like, old people outside. And we're just, like, going balls to the wall, just unloading toilet paper and stuff. And so when the shelf is full, we've got, like, the shelf up high. They call it the sky shelf. And you throw all the fucking overstock on top of the shelf. And my manager's up on the ladder, like, throwing shit up on the shelf. I'm, like, handing it up to her. And the door's open. It's time to open the store or whatever. And, dude, I'd never seen so many old people sprint in my goddamn life, bro. Like, they all sprinted, fucking canes and all, to the back of the store, and were, like, yelling and pushing and shoving, trying to get toilet paper. And, dude, this lady, like, almost pushed my manager off the fucking ladder, bro. I was, like, about to tweak. Like, I went out and, like, smoked a cigarette and talked to the truck driver for a minute and, like, vented. But I was about to start throwing hands. It was getting really out of hand.
Fucking, yeah, that's crazy, dude. I like... That's the thing, like, people blew it out of proportion with all these, like, oh my god, I need to buy this, I need to buy this. What the fuck does that have to do with anything, like?
Capitalism.
Well, it wasn't even that, it's just, like...
Or even consumerism, you can even add.
I guess, but at the end of the day, like, people were just having, like, this fucking irrational fear of nothing. Like, wait it out. And the worst part about it is, like, it's not like the stores were closed where if you went in to buy fucking toilet paper, there's not going to be any there. The store is never closed.
We came really close to fucking the supply chain up, though. I think a lot of, like, the solutions, so to speak, to the problem have been worse than the problem itself. Mm-hmm. With the fact that everybody's, like, overbuying all this shit, like, that came pretty close to destroying the supply chain. And then all the economic shit, just all the shutdowns and all this shit, like... People are fucking about to be homeless with the rent shit doesn't get.
Well, that was the thing. That was the thing. Like, the government went into this whole lockdown mode where nobody was allowed to do business, nobody was allowed to go out, and like there were a lot of lives like of business owners and people that worked like very hard for a living. They either got laid off. They got laid off. Business owners had to close their fucking stores. They couldn't operate, and it ruined a lot of lives. Like towards the beginning of this, because there was nothing in place like to save these businesses.
And a lot of people were living paycheck to paycheck too.
Yeah, a lot of people were already living paycheck to paycheck, and then like this lockdown happens, and like so many lives were ruined because of it.
And even if people weren't living paycheck to paycheck, a lot of people weren't saving their money because they thought they knew that they were always going to be able to go into work the next day or have the next comedy show or have the next concert or whatever the fuck it is. And then now all that shit's shut down and you're just like trapped in these like expensive ass fucking apartments
and
you can't afford.
Like you were saying, like how you can compare it to the Fear of the Dark. Like that's also another thing. Like that's why people are so scared of it, because it's not normal. Like.
Well, like to quote H.P. Lovecraft there, man's oldest and darkest fear is the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
And like flat out, like nobody saw this coming. At least nobody saw the reaction from it coming, because we've had sicknesses before that like could considered bad. But like I think like now being so flooded by like the awareness of it, it's just it boggles the mind.
Yeah, I remember like swine flu back in like it was probably like 2012, 2011, some shit like that.
Yeah, no,
that
like,
shit was like all over for like a hot minute, and then it was just like nothing.
That shit swept over though.
Yeah,
like,
I think the thing that really made like the whole nobody was expecting it, so it's scary, was this is like really political, but was the political climate in the U.S. Nobody was expecting it. Everybody was too focused on the upcoming election and all this other stuff, and there was so much polarity in the country that everybody was against each other, and nobody saw this coming. So, and then again, people are so against each other. There was no sense of unity at the beginning. If it wasn't so polar when everything broke out, it wouldn't have been as quote unquote traumatic, because that's for lack of better words. As it was, like, and if everything weren't so polar, I think that things could have been handled a little bit better.
See, I think for our generation in particular too, it was more harder because like we're at that age, like either we're starting college or we're like getting off of college and going into the actual business of stuff, and we were distracted by actually learning what adult life is like that we didn't like see.
And then the fucking door just gets shut on you that quick.
Yeah, what is it? Like coronavirus was like advertised back like a little towards the end of 2019 and early 2020. Like you heard about it, but like you just didn't give a fuck.
And
because
everything
like, I
just fucking like that. And like people our age, at our age, we're just starting to get into life and deciding what we want to do with the rest of our lives, and exploring adulthood, and then to have that door of being explorers and seeing what life is about just fucking gets closed on you. I personally believe that there's going to be a lot of people our age that are mentally ruined because of this for the rest. Like they're going to be so. Like, they're going to be 30 and still living like they're 20 because they didn't get that time to experiment and explore at this age.
It's also very impactful of, like, children in school, too. They need that social fucking
a lot of, I agree with you there. Like, that is a very important step in, like, a young kid, like, a person's life. Like, that young age where, you're starting to make friends and you're young in school and you're just being socialized like with other people, and now you can't socialize at all. Like that's got to take a huge toll, especially like mentally, and young kids like that. Not having that social interaction that is so helpful to their develop their young minds.
All of the adults around them being so riddled with anxiety and everything. That shit runs downhill. Like that teaches them to live in fear. And
to be honest, I wouldn't even consider myself that social of a person right now. And even I like had that kind of like what do you call it, like time to actually talk with people and interact with them. And like you see it on the younger generation. I see my younger sibling do it now. Like they always have their face in technology. Like they can still interact with friends, but like it's just not the same. Like you gotta be that kind of person who like does sports or like uses their imagination and like runs all over the place. Like that's also a good way to experience like the outside world, like nature and whatnot. And then like that's how you start talking to people and interacting with them, you know?
It's sad too because like with coronavirus, depression's way up, drug use is way up, suicide's way up, alcoholism's way up,
there's nothing
divorce is way up, domestic violence, child abuse, all that way
because people are trapped at home.
Probably even pregnancies if you think about it, so that's a plus.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fucking COVID babies.
They're all gonna be named grown-up. There
have been a lot of like medical analyses that have come out that actually like there's not been a dramatic increase in pregnancies since COVID started. So, which is very surprising.
It is, but it isn't. Because
that shocks me, actually.
Because it could go either way. Because there's not there's people social distancing and not going out and meeting new people, not having bar hookups and shit like that. So there's that. But then there's also everybody's trapped at home with their loved ones and like the stress reliever. Yeah, they're fucking all the time.
But yeah,
so it could go either way.
Like there's definitely been an increase, but it hasn't been dramatic enough to be called a baby boom. Like when you think of the baby boom in like the 50s and 60s, like that was a boom because the economy was booming, the nation was booming, people could go out and do things, and there was so much that was going on. Like people could live that life, and it was so easy to live and live the American dream. It was so easy to do that.
Also, yeah, like how kind of you're talking about too, like. There's a lot of people our age that I know that, like, honestly, truly do not want to have kids. And maybe that'll change in the future, but there's a lot of people I know in our age group, like, 18 to 25, really do not want to have kids because they're in fear of the state of the world. They're, it's such a struggle to even put yourself through school, to put, to get yourself on the map that it's like, why would I want to have another person force them to go through this shit? Which I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I want to have kids, but I want to have a kid, just one. And
I'd like to have a couple kids, but like I'm not the person who's gonna like rush out and have a kid at 22.
I'm waiting until I'm.
I want to be
set myself.
It's got to be the right person, and I got to be set. Like that seems cliche. Like that's obviously what everybody says and thinks.
It's not just that. Also, you want to make sure that like you are the right parent. Like
I'm not gonna just rush into it because I want one. Like you got to be able to support them, and not just financially, emotionally. Like you got to physically be there, and I want to be ready for that. I want to be able to know that that's what I can provide a child before I decide to bring one into this world.
It's the responsible thing to do, man. And like I don't know, I get like shit happens, but I don't know.
Take every precaution you can.
Yeah. Some people just don't be doing it, man.
And for others, like, take the time to learn about yourself. Like, read, meditate. Also, do what you fucking love.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, we only have so much time on this earth before, like, we can say we've done what we like.
Yeah, I've been getting into reading again lately. Well, I used to read a fucking lot when I was younger. I used to read a lot of fiction. And lately I've been getting into, I should say reading. I've been doing audiobooks. I read a lot with school and shit. And also when I smoke weed a lot in my free times. And I don't know, I really find it hard to read when I'm high. Because I'll just like read a line and then I'm like, what did I just read? And then I'll go back and I'll just start thinking so in depth about what I just read as I'm reading the next line. It's when I'm like high and reading, it just doesn't mesh very well. So I've been listening to audiobooks.
I could see audiobooks being better when you're like stoned.
And they're awesome when they're narrated by the actual author.
I can see that, yeah.
And I've been listening to shit that's more like real. You know, I just listened to Matt McConaughey's Green Lights. That was a phenomenal book. And I bought Recovery by Russell Brand. I haven't started it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good book.
Yeah, it's almost like the same as like radio talk shows or like what is it?
It's almost like a podcast in a way.
Those 30s radio stories where like before TV they would actually like narrate like audio wise for like soap operas and like horror stories and shit like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep.
I get what you're saying about like the author though, like when the author reads it in the audio book, because like the author wrote the book.
Yeah.
So when he's reading it, he's remembering, well, not he, but like they're remembering everything that while they were writing this out, like this is how they were thinking. So they read it how they were thinking at that time.
It also makes it more special.
Yeah, they understand how the book should be read, so that's how they're gonna read it.
As far as like tonally, like it's on point. Their tone, you know, that they use with certain, and they know like what
Well, yeah, that's
was
what I'm saying.
intended
Like,
to be like
know,
enunciated, or
they know
just,
exactly how like the book should be read. So they're reading it how they know the book should be read.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my next book I'm going to get after this one is It's All in Your Head by Russ. I've heard that that's a really good book.
Yeah. I haven't read a book in a long time. It's probably been maybe like 2 years since I read a book. But when I do read, there was this one book that I read. I think it was the last book I actually read, and it was Company Commander, and it was this whole like journal about this guy telling this commander of a company in World War II, an infantry company, and he was literally just, it was his day-to-day journal entries and description of like each battle, each skirmish, everything that went on during that day. It was so in-depth, and it was a very, very good read. And like he would like, you'd see his journal entry, like, oh, it'd be like December 13th, 1944 or some shit like that. And then, you know, he'd go in and be like, oh, we made an assault on blah, blah, blah town, yada, yada. And then he would go into and tell you a story, like a relatively short, well, not short, but it was like a story on like the events that took place during those actions. And like, like each day would be like 2 or 3 pages of like this story. Oh, hell, even more than that. And like sometimes it would skip like oh, it'd be like December 13th, 1944, and then it'd be like December 17th, 1944. Oh, this is what happened, and he'll tell you what happened over those last 4 days. And then, you know, it's such a good book. Like, it's probably not something you guys would be interested in, but like for me, as like a person who's always been interested in military history and like all that shit,
read
it was
something
really, really
very
good.
similar. It was not necessarily like a daily journal, but it was the stories of this guy. Like wrote a book on like his experiences during Vietnam. I read that; it was pretty good. I don't remember what it was called. It was a while ago, but no, I'm interested in all that type of stuff.
I
read
really enjoy books like that about like their own personal experiences.
There was a huge fiction story that was written in the same avenue. Like it featured fictitious like interviews with like celebrities, press people in the government, and military people. World War Z. Actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, like the video game and the movie don't give it justice. It actually feels like somebody actually interviewing people in something that's like mind-blowingly out there, but like it has a realistic view and like criticism and points out like how like government and business work, and also how that affects the military at large too.
Yeah.
One of my buddies recently showed me the Resident Evil series, and I was watching those, and one thing I took away from that is like there's a cunning correlation between the Umbrella Corporation and the World Health Organization. There's a lot of similarities between the two of those. I was just kind of
like those memes.
There's been some good memes this year. Do you guys, we're talking about the military journal there. Do you guys keep a daily journal at all?
I thought about it, but it was like to to be quite honest, I wouldn't know how to write or what to write. Like, what is that? What, like, I don't want to write something like it. Yeah, it's important to me, which is what the journal is about. It's about if you decide to like publish that or whatever. It's about what is important in life to you. That is what you write about. But as a person, I don't know. I'll be dead ass honest with you. There are some things that I don't even know what's important to me. There are some days that's just like that. I don't know what's important to me. Like, some days just go by, and like I don't even. All right, cool. It's just another day, which sucks. Like, life shouldn't be like that, but like that's just how it is sometimes.
That is true. For me, like, I've just been more lazy with the handwriting and recording, like, cool events that happen throughout the day.
Oh, so you do like a audio journal type of deal?
No, I do, I'll do
This man's over here Saturday at 2:05 p.m.
Jerked off into a sock.
You're right.
No,
man, somebody's reading this shit like in 2064, and then he's like, "That's what was important to this man."
2015, I threw out the sock.
Yeah,
I
right.
cleaned up my room.
12:15 the next day. The sock is now in the garbage. It is as hard as a fucking diamond, but you know what?
Yeah, it is still attracting blowflies and beetles.
Yeah, there's now a beetle living in the sock. I think it's feasting on my semen.
4:15, a squirrel just ran off with the sock. Used it to make a nest. But no, at certain points, like, I think it is good to, like, even record the little victories because, like, if nothing else, like, especially nowadays when, like, a lot of people are just sitting home and, like, not doing anything, like, that's what builds up like, walk out the door and, like, eventually start doing stuff like exercising and, like, excelling at your job. And
I definitely get that. I think that's very important. You got a great point. Like, recording those little wins, no matter how little they are, that, like, really make you happy and feel like, man, I can take on the fucking world. It's so important to remember those in some way by either, writing it down and memorizing it, recording it. Just to remember that for, like, when you're, like, feeling shitty and feeling like you can't fucking win in the world. You just gotta save those moments, that little shit that's like, damn, if that can make me happy, why can't this? Fuck it, it is making me happy.
Because, like, going back to the statistics of the year, like, mental health has been a real focus, too. And, like...
Going on what you guys were talking about, how, like, keeping track of, like, the victories and stuff. So my daily journal is, it's kind of an interesting way that I've got it set up. So, for my senior project in high school, we all had to do this senior project, and it had to be, there's, like, certain stipulations and shit like that. We had to have a mentor, like, all this shit. And you did one too, right?
Yeah.
So mine, I did leather working, and it had to be like a new skill or like some new type of experience that you hadn't really dabbled with before.
Which is, I think that's, I don't mean to interrupt, but like I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah,
for,
absolutely.
Like, at the school to do.
Yeah, no, it was really cool, and we all come together and like make poster boards and demonstrate to the school and the community the fucking senior projects.
So you learned, yeah, it's pretty cool.
It makes you get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and it's like a really, I think, like, as a senior in high school, I think that's a really, really, like, very creative and great way to start exploring, like, what are the possibilities of what I may want to do with my life. Like, this was awesome, learning about this and seeing how all this shit goes into it. I want to do that for the rest of my life. Like, even if it's something that you don't wind up doing for the rest of your life, it's great to explore it and learn those skills that you'll always have for the rest of your life.
Hell yeah.
I think one of the biggest things with school is that there's not as big a focus on individuality as there could be.
No.
And that's what this senior project was, man. It was all individual. You got to choose your mentor,
Yeah, you
choose
what you wanted. Like this, the only thing that was mandatory was you had to have a certain amount of hours and like you had to have like a certain amount of things.
Yeah, and you had to do like worksheets and prep shit.
Yeah,
and, like just just the general
like
shit.
The actual like experiencing it was completely independent. completely like you had to like have like these certain signatures on how many hours you had. You had to have like a certain amount of pictures and these sheets in, but you got to choose how you experienced it.
Right. And I did leatherworking for mine, so I got like this kit that was like a wallet kit, so it had instructions, and then obviously like you could do extra shit. So like,
you
I did
still
that.
have that wallet.
Yep, I do. And then the wallet was the first thing, just to get my foot in the door, kind of learn some shit. And then the second thing is I bought this blank book, and then I made a book cover out of leather. So it's a leather bound book. And it was just a sheet of leather. And then by the time it's done, it is this amazing book cover. It's dyed red. I did all the stitching, and then I carved some tribal shit in each corner. And then it says Lucid Dream in like cool letters on it, and it's all like stamped in and shit. And then it has the picture of, it's all carved into it, but it's a Game of Thrones wolf in the center. And initially that was supposed to be just a dream journal. That's why it says Lucid Dream on it. And I ended up doing, so it became my daily journal. So we guys were talking about like the victories and shit like that. So the first page of the journal, like you open it up in the inside of the cover, I just wrote like a description of like making it, and then a description of like what it's going to be about. And then the next page, like the first cover page, is just anytime I have like a really good memory, like, or like something that I've created or something. Like one of the things is like the Hightide podcast, like I wrote that, and then it's just like shapes around it. And then eventually it'll be a full page of stuff. So it's like all the cool shit I've done. Like, I don't know, like I took a trip to Portsmouth, New Hampshire and shit. So like I just wrote Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And then like did that. Or senior project. Like just all the victories and all the different cool shit. So like I can look at that and just see like happy, good times, good memories, good shit that I've created.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
That's
you just have
heartwarming
something
and
attached to like
Yeah.
those memories. Yeah.
And then, so then when you go through it every page, the front of this page is a date, and I've gotten in and out of writing it. I've had my phases and shit, and I'll tell you why I want to write it, why I've decided to write it in a minute. But the structure is you open it, and then the page will say like the date, and then it's just like a list of kind of what I was thinking about, what I did that day, things I'm looking forward to, things I regret or could have done better, this and that. Just my daily journal, and then you flip it over, and then it's a dream journal. So it's like the dreams from that night, and then the next page is like the day, and then you flip it over and it's the dreams from that night, which is pretty fucking dope. The reason I decided to, and I'm trying still to get more in the habit of writing in that daily journal is, one, for memories, if I ever have dementia or something like that, if I ever have dementia or something like that, you can look back and kind of see, different things. Two,
Yo, homie, can I rip your vape player gun? Oh, fuck it.
but yeah, so I do it for that, and then I do it for, one, I'm a writer, so like, I just don't have the time to physically write every day, so it kind of gets that writer kick out. And then on top of that, it's also, I feel like it's going to help, because if I'm writing every day, good times and bad times, like I can be in like a really bad place and then go back and look in my journal when I was like at a really good place.
Yeah,
and
you got
see
those high
what
lows,
was different, what worked, what didn't work, and I can kind of use, a detailed history of my past to help me, progress.
Like they
further
always
in the
say,
future.
like you learn from the past, whether that's the world, a country, or a person. Like you learn from the past. Like that's always how it happens. You learn from history. It's how the world works, man.
And I don't think I would ever outright publish my daily journal, but I think maybe later in life, I might write some sort of autobiography. But we'll see. Right now, I'm mostly focused on writing the zombie book I'm working on. I got a couple short stories in the works, and then
You were telling me about that.
got a sci-fi story that I'm thinking about as well, which I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But I was just really fucking stoned the other night. I was thinking about like what could be a cool sci-fi thing that I can write, and I came up with like the loose premise of like the concept of this book would be a combination of reincarnation as well as time travel.
You were telling me about this, yeah.
So like basically like it would be this guy, like whether it's like I don't know a time machine or like a superpower or some shit. I don't know yet, but this guy would essentially have the ability to travel back in time. But it also works in the idea of reincarnation. So if you believe in reincarnation, you know you die and then you're born again in a different body, different life, this and that. Well, this guy would like, you know, find the ability to time travel, go back in time. But when he goes back in time, he wouldn't just be himself in the past.
Oh, he's like somebody
he would be inside his previous body.
Like his past life.
His past life. So he would find himself in like crazy situations where like he's like, you know, got all his modern day experiences, but he's also like trapped in this body of like this other guy. Like say he's like a fucking criminal or like a fucking slave owner or a fucking whatever the fuck he is, a politician, whatever the fuck, you know.
So it's like a
and
cool
like so
take on
he's
Inception.
got to like, you know, still, you know, give up the front that he's like, you know, because if you know he's
he has to play that
he has
that
to play
person
the
he's
part, but he
embodied.
also has to try and do right by like his current like modern day type of views and shit. So I don't know. Thinking about possibly dabbling with something like that.
That's awesome, man. It's like
it'll be a bit down the line.
it's like a great like a little twist on like an Inception type deal.
I've never seen that. I've heard that's a good movie.
It is. Jinx.
Are you writing anything right now?
Currently, for the time being, just spitballing ideas with the dudes at LOS and focusing more on the podcast.
I hear that. I've not been writing the most lately. I just started a new job myself, and I just finished out the semester, and I'm doing the podcast and whatnot.
Right now, it's more grind time, I feel like.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, man. Like, I feel like as a whole, like, just all the people around me, my whole friend group, everybody was really just down and out. A couple of people I know were, like, suicidal. Everybody was just depressed and, like, really in a bad spot. And it makes me so happy now to see, you know, doing a podcast. We're all sitting right here, and we're like, yeah, we all just started jobs. You know, we all doing this, doing a podcast. Fucking, you know, you're doing your podcast, and you just started at Michael's. We're all getting our shit together. I know a couple people that are talking about going back to school, man. Like, everybody, you know, we're kind of all getting our fucking shit together, man, and just
now
getting after it.
Now, Josh, what was the biggest challenge of 2020 for you?
It was definitely like getting started in life, like getting that job at Michael's. Like, it wasn't difficult to start that, but it was like getting in that routine. Like, I've always been good at starting routines, but it was just like it was like a completely new thing, and it was like I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, wasn't sure how it was gonna play out. It wasn't that it was necessarily like hard to do. It was like you were saying, like people are afraid of the unknown. It was unknown. I didn't know how things would play out. I didn't know how everything would work. So it was like it wasn't that it was hard like physically or mentally. Well, it was hard mentally, but it wasn't like hard to do. It was just like mentally hard to change, I guess.
What about you, DJ? What was your biggest struggle of 2020?
Jeez. Adapting to life back in New York. Florida had its ups and downs, but it was a pretty manageable life to live down there. And when I came back and came back to the Renaissance here, it was one of those things where it was hard to adapt more or less to the social and economic climate. It's always something different. But I think this summer was definitely one of the best on record. After hard restrictions on what to do around here because of coronavirus. When we actually got the opportunity for more freedom, it was nice to catch up with friends and just take a moment to breathe and look into new projects also. That was the biggest thing about this past year, like, it was hard, but, like, it gave us the motivation to, like, step back and look inward, too.
Yeah, I think for me, there was a couple really big struggles. For me, over the summer, early on in the pandemic, I wasn't working, and I was waiting for unemployment, and then, because, like, I lost my job, and then I pretty much, like, I was planning on taking a 2-week vacation over summer anyways, and I had a couple weeks left in the semester when I lost my job, and I was, like, pretty much like, oh, well, I'll just finish out the semester, I'll spend a bunch of money, treat this as a 2-week vacation, because shit's probably not going to be opened up anyways. Fuck it. So I spent, like, most of my money, and then someone convinces me to go on unemployment. They're like, oh, you can get all this extra money, this and that. I'm like, all right, fuck it. But I had no savings, and then I applied for unemployment May 15th. I didn't get any money until the end of July, and I had no income. I was so fucking broke. But it forced me to really look inwards and, one, think about what's important, and two, being that fucking broke made me realize, like, I gotta do some shit to not be in that position. And I'm about to potentially be in the best position financially that I've ever been in a long time. I'm talking about doing a lot of trips, investing a lot in studios, and I've got money in the stock market. I've got a really good job. I'm talking about potentially graduating school and instantaneously paying off my student loans. So it forced me to kind of really reflect on that, which was nice, but it was a struggle. And the other thing was, I've always been one of those people, man, that just thrives off of schedule. And, having a consistent schedule and just being able to, know, like you were talking about earlier, like that fear of the unknown. When you've got to do this every day, this and that, you know what to expect, this and that. But with the lack of schedule with school, like online school, like a lot of it was like, oh, like I'm just going to post a couple lectures online, watch them at your own free will. And I just found myself like in a self-destructive kind of habit. Like I would essentially just do all my schoolwork in 3 days. And then I would just like fuck off and like get super fucked up all the time, like on the other days off. And then I just set myself up for like a really hellish, horrible couple of days, just grinding 3-4 days straight. That, of course, by the time I'm done grinding like a motherfucker after 3-4 days straight, I'm like, yeah, I want to get fucked up. It's been a stressful week. And then it was just kind of a really repetitive, not even necessarily self-destructive, but it was just a really unhealthy cycle that I found myself in. That was getting out of that and just trying to somewhat build a schedule around, an inconsistent type of schedule was very difficult for me.
Yeah, inconsistency is a big thing for me too. Like I can handle it, but it's just not something I enjoy. Like I like to have that consistency of like knowing what's gonna happen, like knowing what to expect. Even if there's something that changes, like I can take that. You roll with the punches, but like knowing that the majority of your day is gonna consist of one thing, or but with maybe a little bit to change, but knowing what to expect is nice.
Yeah, let's switch this to more of a positive note. Josh, what was your best memory of 2020?
Best memory of 2020? There are a few. I mean, like, obviously this year has been pretty somber, like, low key. But, like, there have been moments, like, honestly, I think a good memory from this year is like really starting working at Michael's. Like that was really like it seems so like I don't want to say stupid, but like it seems so like I guess for lack of a better word, stupid. But like starting at Michael's and moving back in with my parents, like really is what is kind of getting me on that road to the rest of my life. And I guess like that, as it being like my most hardest moment of 2020, it's also like one of the most enjoyable because I know now like shit's just getting started. Yeah, it may suck right now, but at the same time, like this is it, man. This is how you start. This is how I'm starting my life. How I want to live my life. How I want to start it. And it's as sucky as it is, working these hours that but it's also really, really rewarding.
For sure. DJ, what was your best memory of 2020?
I would say it was starting up the podcast we have on Life on Saturn. Just the opportunity to voice my own thoughts and opinions on different subjects with people I enjoy. Also, I would say like that brief time I was posting poems on Instagram and Facebook. It was just a good way to like get creativity out there, and while people are just stuck at home and whatnot, it's like a good form of entertainment to push while we're just chillaxing.
Yeah, I'm thinking about making some type of website or something and start to upload some of the smaller things I've written and just basic rough drafts of different things, get some opinions, get some inspiration ideas, that type of stuff. My best memory of 2020 was shout out to Chase and Isaiah. We went to Portsmouth, New Hampshire earlier in the year. It was a beautiful fucking place, man. We swam in the ocean.
It was really gorgeous.
It was great. That and starting the podcast, man. This is only episode 8. I'm slowly getting more and more into it. I'm trying to do one a week and upload the previous one every week. But yeah, no, the podcasts have been awesome, dude. Just in a time when it's hard to link up with friends and talk to people, and a time when everybody's glued to their fucking phones, man, it's awesome to just sit down and have a conversation with one or two people, And anybody that's been on the podcast, I thank y'all for hopping on. Thank you guys for hopping on.
Of course, man.
Absolutely.
I could do a podcast by myself, but it's not just me, man. It's part of it's the guests that come on, It's been awesome, I really enjoy doing the whole podcast.
Word up.
Yeah, I'm thinking about starting my own, but like I want to make sure I have the right setup first before I even start. Like I don't want to. I know it sounds cheesy, but like I don't want to like start off and like have fucking nothing. I'm recording on like my phone speaker and sitting there, absolutely shit. It sounds like a fucking monkey fucking a football, like.
But also keep in mind, the enemy of success is perfection.
Perfection, yeah.
I've learned a lot about that in different writing classes and different writing videos that I've watched and taken part in and shit. Is that a lot of people just get really caught up on their first book and they want it to be perfect and they just spend way too long on that first book. But I mean, you don't need a lot to start a podcast. I mean, right now, we've got one mic, USB mic, and we've got a laptop, and we're running Audacity. It's not crazy, but I'm excited to get a studio and get some video up and whatnot. Definitely would be preferable to have the audio and video aspect of it, but that'll come soon enough. My only advice to you is get in the door and establish it. Figure out if it's something you like before you invest a bunch of money in. That's kind of where I'm finding myself right now. I think I'm going to stick with it for the most part, and I've already got guests lined up for the next 2 months out. But I'm thinking about dropping a good $500 to $1,000 in equipment into the studio and whatnot in the next couple of months. And trying to find decent deals and kind of figure out exactly what I want to do. I'm looking at a Zoom H6, which is kind of an all-in-one podcast machine. But I've got a couple of roommates I'm getting a place with, and we're fucking fitting to get a bunch of music shit, mixers, all that. They both play guitar. One of them plays drums. I want to learn the violin. Another one wants to learn piano. We're fitting to jam out and shit.
Make your own like intro music and shit, man. That'd be awesome.
Oh, we could make my own intro music. No copyrights either.
Yeah, bro, that's the best part.
Yeah, Chase and I actually, the second episode of the podcast, we made a song that night. Like we linked up and we made a song, and then we did a podcast afterwards, and we played our song on the podcast.
Yeah, I remember because we hung out.
We hung out that night.
Yeah,
you and Bryce rolled up after we did the podcast. Yeah.
For sure, man. See, like you're saying, like don't invest too much money in it, but like my thing is even if I just I buy a mic and a camera or whatever, an editing software, there's still other things that I know I could do with it. Like the mic, use that, for gaming, because I love to game and I would love to get into like streaming and shit.
Yeah.
So like
I
that
wanna
mic
get
would
back
be
into
really
streaming
useful.
myself.
It's not just like, oh, the mic is just for podcasting. Like, no, it's it has its other uses.
Yeah, do your research too, man. Like I've really started to do some research and audio equipment, music, podcasting equipment, all that type of stuff. Like it's a
Not cheap,
whole,
man,
so
yeah.
it's not cheap, but it's a whole nother world, man. Like there's all sorts of shit that you can buy and do, and you don't need top of the line equipment. Like we're doing a
No.
podcast right now. Like I said, just free editing software, like a $30 USB mic, and I have a decent computer, but you don't need the world to fucking
Yeah,
start
no.
anything. But I'm slowly planning to improve shit over time. My biggest thing is just getting a nice place set up to do it, and fucking a camera so we can have some video.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's my thing. Like, I have a nice PC, so whether I want to do podcasting, I'll buy the editing software, and if I do decide I want to start streaming, like my PC can handle it. Like, it pretty much handles whatever I throw at it right now. So like, it's not like I'm just going into it with like bottom line shit.
Yeah, I want to get back into YouTube and streaming. I used
Yeah.
to do YouTube for gaming back in the day.
There's nothing wrong with bottom line shit, even.
Oh,
Like,
no,
it's
no.
one of those things where, like, as long as you're getting it out there and you're having fun with it, that's the biggest.
That's
thing.
usually what like gets the most views. Like, if you're enjoying it, people can tell you're enjoying it, and then they enjoy it too.
Yeah, and you also too don't make it all about the views, man. Like I don't even I'll check the views that I get when people are like,
man,
hey, what's
you're
your
doing
shit
what makes
at?
you happy.
Yeah, I'm just doing it because I'm enjoying it and vibing out, and hopefully people like
Yeah,
that.
it brings your friends together.
Like I've got a guy that I know, man. Like I'm gonna talk to him, man, because I really want to give him some advice. Because this guy, he makes music, man, and he's like just starting out, just getting into it. He's rapping, and dude, he's not fucking bad, man. He's pretty decent. And the thing is like he posts all of his music, and then he instantly is like, oh, nobody's liking my shit, nobody's, this and that, or like somebody will say something negative, and he's like, this is the last song I'm gonna make, y'all aren't showing enough love, this and that, but it's like, I don't know, if you're enjoying it, fucking run it and do it,
Yeah,
man, But, like, he's just caught up in the whole, like, gotta get views and shit. It takes time to build shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
Especially shit like that.
And podcasts especially, man, it's a very saturated market.
That is true.
But it takes time to grow. This one's only averaging right now like 30 views a podcast or some shit. But there's some advertising and shit that I can do personally. Like I've got sources to do that shit. I'm just kind of slowly trying to let it grow naturally, get my foot in the door, hone in the craft, get shit together, and then I think once I have a proper studio set up, I have video and everything like that, that's when I'm really going to go out and just advertise the fuck out of it and, try and slowly build it up. Your podcast is doing pretty decent, view-wise and shit.
Yeah. We've garnered a few hundred views here and there.
Ooh.
Like, per podcast, like, some ones are more popular than others, but, like, the big thing we keep is that, like, again, like, having fun with it, and more importantly, like, the big thing with podcasting is it's a radio talk show, but you're having an actual conversation. And
I think,
online,
like, me personally, when I'm watching podcasts, I really enjoy the ones where, like, you're just shooting the shit and telling stories and, like, laughing and, like, genuinely hanging out and enjoying each other's company. Like, I think those are the best podcasts. Because, like, if you're laughing, if they're laughing, like, this shit's fucking hilarious. Like, there's no better enjoyment than like hearing two idiots fucking tell each other these dumbass stories that making them laugh. Like that shit, it's awesome. Like just watching people enjoy the company of others and hanging out.
Oh yeah.
And the big thing is that not many people focus on like the chemistry someone will have with their guests.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to have all sorts of different people on. I gotta get some women on my podcast at some point, but I'm not super worried about it. I just kind of have on whoever the fuck I feel like having on,
Yeah.
I try not to let, try not to let anything influence, who I do and don't have on, have anybody from any religion, political views, whatever, anything. It's just as long as you're like an interesting person and we can vibe, like, yeah, I'll have you on the podcast, But eventually, hopefully it'll get some views and shit. I'm not super worried about it. I remember when I used to do YouTube, and I remember getting that first notification when I had like 100 views on one video. I was like, oh my god. And then it was like 1,000. I'm like, oh my god. And then it was like 10,000. I'm like, oh my god.
So
I had some with like 40,000 views on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
Word up.
Back in the day when I was like 14, 15, I was doing YouTube. So dude, like I try to live with no regrets, right? And I think honestly, like the skills and shit that I learned off of doing YouTube and being in that type of industry, so to speak, is what allowed me to, more easily start doing a podcast, start some of the creative endeavors and stuff that I did. And I try not to live with any regrets, but to this day, that's like my only really big regret in life was not continuing with YouTube. Because I was, I think I was like 14, 15 when I started, probably like 16, 17 when I stopped doing it. And I found that niche market, man. So there was this game called Battle Islands. It was like a ripoff of Clash of Clans, and I had it on the PS4, and I recorded and edited everything right on the PS4 itself, right? So I started doing a Let's Play of this game. Next thing I know, dude, I'm the leader of the second highest rated clan in the world, and it's all built up. The clan is literally built of all my subscribers and shit. And you only have like 50 people, so every week, like I would boot out like the bottom couple people, and then like it would give other viewers a chance to like hop in. And I did like gun reviews on Battlefield, and I played a lot of other games and shit too. But my big thing was like Battle Islands, and so I ended up getting a partnership. I got my first partnership. I was only making a couple bucks here and there. It was a really shitty deal. It was one like anybody can join it. It's I think it was called Freedom. And eventually I get this other partnership. So I've got like 600-700 subscribers, and you had to have like a certain amount of like views per month or some shit like that. So I'm getting like a couple thousand views per week or month or some shit like that. And I've got this Curse Union for Gamers partnership, which like some of the biggest YouTubers with like hundreds of thousands, millions of subscribers are through this Curse Union for Gamers. And they gave you 90% of your revenue, only took 10%, which was like really big because the other one was like 60-40. I think I was only making 40, they were making 60, or it might have been the other way around. But either way, it was like really shitty compared to I'm making 90%, they're making 10. And they like promote your shit. They put like gaming related ads. So like, like if you're watching a gaming video and like an Assassin's Creed trailer pops up as an ad, you're more likely to watch that all the way through than like fucking this is Jake from State Farm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they did that. So that was going, and then, dude, so this Battle Islands company, the game company itself reaches out to me at like 15, 16 years old. And they say, yo, like, we want you to make videos and tutorials for our game, and we're gonna like pay you money and promote your fucking shit to do it. And I'm just like, holy shit, like this is an opportunity and a half. And then, like, a bunch of crazy shit happened. Like, I was, like, in this really whack-ass program in school, and I wasn't fucking with it. I was getting bullied. I was having a hard time. And the game, like, got really buggy, and I was, like, not really trying to support, like, a buggy game. And then the community around the game, like, kind of got really toxic. And my grandfather passed away. There was, like, a bunch of shit. Then I was, like, moving to a different school. And so after like 110 episodes, I ended up like coming out and I was like, I'm done playing Battle Islands, this and that. Lots going on. It's been super toxic. And I stopped doing that, which really negatively impacted my channel. And then because I was doing everything through the PS4, when I was at my old school, like everybody had PS4. So I was like, perfect. And then I moved schools and everybody had the Xbox. And this is before cross-platform was becoming a thing. So I was like, oh, I'll get the Xbox. And the Xbox had like horrible internal capture cards, and it just had horrible editing software. Such a pain in the ass. I didn't have a great computer. And, then school started getting harder. I was like deeper into high school now. I started working, and I kind of just never really, I stopped making YouTube videos, and I never really got back into it. And then I started writing and doing music and podcasting and other things. But eventually I do want to get back into streaming and YouTube. But I don't know, like, I kind of regret it, but at the same point in time I don't, because there's a lot of experiences that I've had, there's a lot of weight that I've lost, there's a lot of people that I've met that might not have happened had I continued YouTube. Like, I might not have even gone to college and learned a lot of the cool and interesting shit that I've learned. So,
it's a good way to earn money. Like, at that point, what do you need college for?
Yeah, so I don't know. I try to like not have any regrets about it, but like if that company would have promoted my fucking channel, like I would have I 100% had laid the groundwork out, and I had like
You had that
a
foundation.
100% way of like easily making it big on YouTube, and I kind of squandered it, but everything happens for a reason, and I think, the skills and foundation that I had, like I said, allowed me to kind of do a lot of the things that I'm trying to do now. And so I don't know, I don't truly 100% regret it, but it's just one of those things that I look back and I'm like, man, what if, I went and did this with that game. For sure, I don't know. Have you guys had any crazy experiences like that?
Not really. I mean, no, I can't really think of anything like that. I know there was a good friend of mine I had met on Xbox in an old game, World of Tanks. I loved that game that was my passion. I get home from school every day and I would play that for hours and hours on end. And of course, it's one of those games where, it's free to play, but it's pay to win. It's got that premium, when, you buy the premium membership, for like $60 a month, and you're getting 3 times the fucking XP and 3 times the money and all this bullshit. And I played it without that. And I just, for years, that was my passion. And I met him through that game, and he was just like, you know what? I really want to start a YouTube channel. I watch all these people on YouTube. Fuck it, I want to start one. And he started it out, and it grew really slow and everything like that. But now he's got like 40, 50,000 subscribers now, and like he's relatively big in like that community. Like he's a relatively large name in that community. And it all started out from like him and I just like playing and shooting the shit. Like in a lot of his early videos, I'm playing with him. Like we're just shooting, having fun, shooting the shit, playing like. And now, mind you, like I'm a 16-year-old kid just playing this game because I love this game. And he at the time, like he was a grown ass adult, but like 2 people that really clicked because of our passion for that game. I think that's what gaming's about. And like to see him succeed in doing what he's like said, fuck it, this is what I want to do. I enjoy playing this game. Screw it. And it's great because fairly recently he quit his job and decided to pursue that YouTube channel full time.
Oh yeah, dude.
I think that's awesome, dude. I called him like that day when I saw his post about it on Facebook, and I was like, dude. Because I haven't, like, he has his, his social media for that YouTube channel, but because, we were good friends on Xbox and stuff, we had each other on Facebook. So I called him and I was like, hey, like, that's awesome. Like, that's great to hear that you finally have reached that point in that YouTube channel milestone where you can officially quit your job and pursue this full time. And it's great. Like, I'm so happy for him. But I've never really had that passion to start I've always wanted to, but I guess I just never really had that, you know what, fuck it moment.
I grew more into it when I started hanging out with Dom from Life on Saturn. What was it? I came out from a dark time in my life, and as soon as I got out of that, good shit was happening. I was involved with the Escape at Dana Morris stuff that was going on with Ben Stiller.
Oh yeah, you were in that fucking movie, weren't you?
I am a background character, like what do you call it? Extra.
Yeah.
Like in one of the prison scenes.
Fucking shit, dude. That's awesome.
It was alright, but like there was some Hollywood bullshit going on behind the scenes. But that's where I met Dom, and like I already saw that this kid like was going somewhere because he already had like I think like 13,000 like subscribers to Instagram, and fucking his YouTube had like only a couple hundred, but like his videos echoed that of shit like Robot Chicken from Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. Yeah.
And eventually, he started garnering more people, and I was like, yo, I'd like to help out with that. And that's when I got back into the passion of stuff like writing, acting, and whatnot. And the big thing is I think like anything else in life, you got to stop looking for something in order for it to find you also.
Yeah.
And that's taking some time to yourself can also reinvigorate your passion for that kind of stuff. And yeah, now the biggest thing when it comes to up and coming YouTubers or people who just want to display their content out there, the biggest thing is again, have fun with it, but also just make sure that that's something that you actually love to do, that you genuinely gotta get out there to just release your soul, if that makes sense, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Live life with no regrets, going back to it again.
I think too, when you're if you have something that you're really passionate about and whatnot, get out there, start it, and do it, man. There's we talked about this pretty recently, me and you, DJ. We were talking about how there's always a million reasons not to do something. If you have the chance to start something, fucking do it, man, because it only gets harder as time goes on. You're gonna be deeper into high school, you're gonna be going to college, you're gonna have a job, you're gonna have kids, you're gonna have a family. The later you start something, the harder it is to really get into it,
No facts.
For sure. That's why, I dabble in a lot of different things, but, I'm trying to do one podcast a week. Gives me something to look forward to every week. It's enough to get my foot in the door. Say I have a podcast, do it, gain some experiences from that. I try to write a couple pages of my book each week, enough to say I'm writing a book, to slowly be making progress. Because, I'm working, I'm going to school, I'm doing a lot of different things, trying to lose weight, all sorts of shit. But if you can balance and manage shit,
And going back
slowly
to
just start and build it the fuck up, man.
And going back to it again, stuff like this, podcast writing, and even audiobooks, so getting your voice out there and whatnot, it's all part of what's been making 2020 good in different senses also, because it gets more art out there, music, more podcasting, more people doing voice stuff,
a lot of the best art, man, comes out of horrible fucking times. If you look at art from World War II era, Great Depression, shit like that.
You want to hear
it's when art, because you go through this super tragic shit and it just fuels you to create this beautiful fucking shit to escape.
You gotta think that's exactly what happened in the entire world, the known world at the time. You gotta remember the Renaissance happened right after the Dark Ages. Which is considered to be some of the darkest
Black
times.
Death and shit too.
Yeah, some of the darkest times in world history came this whole boom of people making this wonderful, beautiful art and making all these advancements and all this shit, and it was insane, and it all came from this such hard time in the world.
Yeah, I think, right now, things obviously don't look the best. They're looking better, the vaccine's coming out, the stock market's supposedly doing better, Trump's out of office, whether or not you like that. I'm not going to say, I think personally, Biden is probably the lesser of two evils. I'm not, super happy about either option that we had. But, there's a lot of things that are essentially looking up. But I think, within the next couple of years, once we're through all this shit, I think the world's going to bounce back, and it's going to bounce back hard. I think, concerts are going to be more lit than they've ever fucking been, ever.
And keep in mind also, we just started the 20s. The start of the decade has sucked so far, but, we have 9 more fucking years to turn that paradigm around.
Yeah, this has been more of the whoring 20s than it has the roaring 20s.
The whoring 20s!
Yes! Oh my fuck.
I love it. Oh, shit.
But no, I think we'll bounce back, and it'll be, I think it's gonna bounce back, and people are really gonna appreciate the good times, and it'll make the good times that much
more
fucking
appreciative
better.
of what because they understand what can happen if it gets taken away.
Yeah.
Right.
It's definitely going to inspire me to go out more. Like, I say I haven't been to a concert. Like, I went to the State Fair last year, and, like, Franz and I went to, like, a concert, I guess. But it wasn't, like, a full-blown concert. It wasn't, like, a band that we knew or anything. I was really pissed. We almost went the night Lindsey Sterling was there, and I'm a big fan of Lindsey Sterling, and we fucking didn't go that night. So we missed that. But I had a great time at the State Fair. But, you know, not being able to go to, because I always knew, like, yeah, I've never been to a concert, but, like, at any point in time, like, if I want to go to a concert, like, I can just fucking go to a concert. And now that I'm like, oh, fuck, like, if I wanted to go to a concert right now, like, I can't do that. Like, it makes me want to go out and, like, start, you know, going to more shit, like, comedy shows, you know, fucking, concerts, fucking, I want to go see, like, some, not necessarily go to Broadway specifically, but see, like, some shit like that, you know, like, plays, shit like that.
I've never been to a concert, Broadway, like, musical, fucking show, comedy show, nothing like that. I've been to sports games. I've been to multiple, like, MLB games.
See, I haven't even been to any
couple
sports games or
NHL
anything like that. I went to the casino for the first time recently. That was pretty fun. But I'm a bit of a gambler at heart, so I gotta be very careful with going to the casino. But it was a good experience for sure. What are the first types of gatherings and shit that you guys are most looking forward to when this shit's all said and done?
That's a tough one, man.
Like, repeat the question.
Like, what types of, like, large, like, events and gatherings, shit like that, are you most looking forward to being able to go to again when COVID and shit's over?
Well, honestly, dude, like, I never really got out and did anything. Like, I hung out with friends and that was about it, and which, like, you can still do. So, like, but now having, like, that ability to do it taken away, like, I definitely want to experience more things.
Yeah, like, I experienced a couple things. Like, if there was a returning one I'd like to go to, it would be like a Comic-Con of some sort. If there was one thing, like, I would like to experience, like, new-wise, I would definitely like to go to a music festival. And then, like, I wouldn't mind going back to the beach, like Daytona was before coronavirus hit, and, like, just, like, talk to everyone.
Fuck yeah.
Just for the fuck of it.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm most excited to be able to go to concerts and shit. I really want to go to, like, an EDM festival or something like that. Sporting events, and I want to go to a UFC fight really bad.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Our buddy, you know Bryce, obviously.
Yeah.
You remember when he went to a UFC event? He
awesome.
fucking loved that shit. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get out there and see some shit, do some different shit, you know. Excited for this all to be over.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Fucking, I hope Higher Ground in Burlington hasn't gone under. Heard that that's a pretty good place. I don't know if you guys are fans of Chris Webby.
Yeah.
You go there, please let me know. I'd like to go there too.
Yeah, you listen to Chris Webby, right? You know
Oh,
Jordan
fuck
Fuller.
Yeah, Jordan got me into that.
Yeah, me too. Dude, he has a picture. He met Chris Webby at
Yeah,
I think it was Higher Ground Burlington.
yeah, he told me about all
Dude,
that shit.
They have a picture together. These two look like fucking cousins, bro. Or at least like
Yeah.
brothers, bro. Like, he's literally, this guy's labeled in my phone as Webby Jr.
Webby Jr. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I really, really want to go to a Chris Webby concert in Burlington. Hopefully Higher Ground opens back up. I don't know if they went under or anything like that. I know a lot of places are fucking going under. Like, I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. My fucking gym went under, man. Like, the gym's got to go ahead to open back up, and I'm like, fuck yeah. And then my gym emails me, and they're like, oh, you know, sorry to inform you, like, we're out of fucking business forever. And I'm just like, fuck. But the businesses that do survive, you know, they'll bounce back.
Word.
And, I don't know, it gives some opportunities and chances for some new businesses and new things to fucking open up and build up and hopefully prosper. Well, I'm ready to call it. Y'all got anything you want to say before we...
I tap out.
Josh, you got
It's been a
anything?
great time, like coming on the podcast. I mean, it's the second time, even though we didn't have this first recording. But,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's always fun. Just like
It was-
even just
I
hanging out.
apologize for that,
It
man.
was
That's
good.
the only
It's
time
good,
I've
man.
ever
Like-
experienced that, dude. Like
Like
I don't know
it
what
just
the
gives
fuck
us
I did.
more opportunities to just hang out and like, hanging out all the time. Like it's just a better opportunity to hang out and shoot the shit.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest, Josh. It was good getting to know you.
It's good seeing you again too.
Yeah, thank you all for coming on. Viewers, I hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Catch y'all in the next episode.
Peace out.